Let's talk about Cardano and DeFi Llama. How much Cardano and Minswap do you need to be rich? Assuming you are yield farming. Now, before we start, yield farming is a very, very risky proposition, especially in a bear market. And this is assuming things go right. I cannot guarantee, obviously, that things will go right because I am not a god, unfortunately. Kind of wish I was, but that's just not how things work. So we're going to go with the fact that I am actually not a god and I cannot predict the future. But I like Cardano, and Minswap is the primary DeFi swap on Cardano. So I do believe a lot of the liquidity would actually funnel there. It's just like Uniswap is the biggest DEX on Ethereum. Now, if you actually look at the difference between Minswap and Uniswap right now, Uniswap has a $2.19 billion market cap, whereas Minswap has a $12 million market cap. Of course, it's 90 million diluted, but if you take 12 billion right now, I think like the supply will increase a little bit, but that's roughly 160x from market cap of Minswap to Uniswap. Cardano is at 9.2 billion market cap. Ethereum is at 196 billion, roughly a 20x market cap. And you have to think that basically the max during the bull run isn't really going to come out until early 2015 or late 2014. So you will be probably generating yield of around 20 to 30% by then. So you will have 20 or 30% more coins if you have Cardano and Uniswap. Remember, this is assuming that you are yield farming on the DeFi with Minswap. So let's actually look at the TVL stats between Cardano and Ethereum. So to achieve the $2.19 billion market cap it has right now, Uniswap basically has, well, Ethereum has a total value locked, not just Uniswap. Ethereum has a total value locked of about $21 billion right now. Cardano has a TVL of much, much less. In fact, Cardano's TVL, if you look at USD, is only about $163 million versus like $21 billion. That's like pretty much 150x. Kind of exactly where the difference between Uniswap and Minswap is. And that's how important TVL is. The ratio of TVL between Cardano's TVL and Ethereum's TVL right now is pretty much almost the exact same ratio as Minswap to Uniswap. I actually think the TVLs are a little bit more different, but it's close enough. So from that, we can actually infer that TVL is what's going to drive TVL will actually tell us how much Minswap can catch up to Uniswap. Now, 160x on Minswap would not catch it up to Uniswap because you have to assume that Uniswap is going to go up too during the bull run. But if we can actually get Cardano's TVL to be, go up from 163 million to the current Ethereum market TVL of 21 billion, we can kind of assume that Minswap will become 2.19 billion in market cap, giving you about 150 to 160 hex gains on Minswap. Now, what will we need for that to actually happen? Well, if we actually look at ADA right now, how much TVL do we have in ADA? We have just over 600 million ADA. I think ADA can get to about $5 in the bull run. And with 621 million ADA locked, that would only be $3 billion. That's still 7x less than what Uniswap actually has TVL right now. We have to assume that, it's going to be a year to a year and a half, before we actually get to the maximum of the bull run. And a year ago, Cardano TVL was roughly at, let's say, around August 2022, 200 million ADA. So ADA's TVL in terms of ADA has actually grown by about 3.5x. So if we assume that it grows by 3.5x again, maybe 4x because it's a little bit more than a year. Let's assume that it grows by 4x and people are locked in about 2.45 billion TVL. Now at $5 per ADA, 2.4 billion TVL would roughly be about 12 like $12 billion, which is roughly half of what Ethereum is right now. And I think that's a fairly good projection at the top of the bull run, that the amount of ADA locked will be about, 3.5, around there, about 3.54 times what it is right now. And ADA is around $5. I think that's a fair projection at the top of the bull run, which means Minswap should actually have about half the market cap that Uniswap actually has now, or around $1.05 billion. Assuming that it's $12 million market cap right now, that would be like 90x potential. But you have to assume that Minswap is going to increase its supply. I don't think it's going to increase it so drastically in a year, but I do think it's going to be more. So you're probably looking at more like 60x potential from Minswap. So you're looking at about 60x potential for Minswap versus maybe 20x potential for Cardano. If you mix it all together, if you combine those two, you get about maybe like 35x to 40x potential. Let's just be on the optimistic side and say 40x potential if you invest in Minswap and Cardano. But here's the thing, you're yield farming, remember? So you get 30% on that. So basically you have to add 30% to that, 30% on top of basically 40x potential. You might get about 52x potential. So let's just round it down to 50x potential if things actually go right. And, unless you're predicting that Minswap will just overtake Uniswap, or like TVL will just boom more than I've projected, which actually is a pretty good projection, I think. 50x potential. To get $1 million, you need to invest about $20,000 right now in the Cardano and Minswap pair. You have to hope that Cardano TVL blows up and Cardano DeFi blows up, which is actually doing pretty well right now. So I don't think it's too bad of a projection. And you have to hope that like something doesn't get rugged and it doesn't die. And that obviously is always a huge risk for DeFi. But I think Cardano is actually less riskier than a lot of the smaller protocols because ADA is well established. Charles is not going anywhere. I feel like if Charles rug pulled and left, a lot of people would be all for hunting Charles down. So I really doubt he's actually going anywhere. So I think he's going to definitely stick with this project. And he seems pretty dedicated to it as well, because I think like Charles actually wants to have a good reputation, that he wants people to actually talk about him in a positive light, because, even ego-driven individuals generally like that kind of stuff. So the thing is, like, if you look at Ethereum's total value locked right now versus Cardano's total value locked right now, you look at how much Cardano is increasing its TVL by in terms of ADA, and you project ADA's growth to be about $5, which honestly isn't that much because it reached like $3.5 last time. So if you project its height at $5 this time, you can look at around 11 to $12 billion ADA for total value locked. And then at that point, the liquidity should actually increase for Minswap, and Minswap should be about half of where Uniswap is right now. And based on those numbers, you can actually assume maybe 60, 70x for Minswap, maybe 20x for Cardano, because that would put it at around $5 right now. Like I said, average them, you get about 40x. But once again, you're yield farming, you're producing about 30% yield. There are better yield pairs on Minswap, but they're also a lot riskier because Min and Cardano, I think, is the best pair right now, because I think they'll both survive. Some of the smaller coin pairs, I do not know if they'll survive, so I can't really say anyone should actually put money in those smaller pairs right now. But if you Minswap Cardano, unless something rug pulls, I do think it'll actually survive, and that will get you really, really good gains. Obviously, like, there's going to be impermanent gains at that point, but if you're cashing out, it really doesn't matter all that much. You're kind of just combining the two in terms of profitability, and I think 50x combined between the two, if you're taking the risk of yield farming, is actually a pretty good return for generally the biggest swap on a top 5 coin. I don't really know if you're going to find anything better. I would say BSC is more stable if Binance didn't have all the legal problems, but since Binance does actually have all the legal problems right now, I'm not really sure how that's going to work. I also don't think that anyone's going to hack Minswap right now because it's fairly small at this point, and it may not be worth it for hackers to hack. And you'll probably have a chance to actually cash out before that actually happens. And Cardano might actually be more strict on like their programming and smart contracts and all that stuff, so that hack may never actually happen. So that's kind of like what I see the potential for Cardano and Minswap. No, I don't expect it to overtake Ethereum either in TVL or in size, but I'm just projecting that like Cardano can maybe like get 20x in the bull run, get to about 5x, and Minswap can get maybe to about 60x, which is about half of what Uniswap is right now. It'll be like a tenth of what Uniswap is during the bull run because Uniswap's actually going to go up, but I don't think Minswap's going to have the same like volume issues as Uniswap because Cardano scales a lot better than Ethereum. And I think like even on the layer 2, Cardano is going to scale a lot better with Hydra. So I don't think you'll have a lot of those on-chain jam ups that Ethereum does. So based on that, we might actually grow even more because I think with DeFi and NFTs, people are going to get tired of the high fees and they're going to come to other chains. So that's my take on Cardano and Minswap. That's about how much you need. I think you need to invest about $20,000 to make $1 million. Obviously, you want to make $3 million, you need to invest about $60,000 and hope that things go well and there are no rug pulls. But that's always the case in DeFi. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.